It is Sunday night. It is 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I am your host, Cowboy Kevin. It is time for the Barbecue Chat Show. Guys, we're hanging out tonight. Mikey will be on here very shortly, and we'll be chatting. Don't know how long we're going to go. Mikey's voice, well, you'll hear it. He don't sound so great. So sit back, grab a beer, and we're going to get going. Guys, as always, if you have questions, give us a shout, put it in the comments, or find us on Instagram, check out our page, send us a DM, and we'll do our best to answer. And here is Mikey. Let's get Mikey in here. So, well, I said view, and I said yes. Go live. There he is.
Is this thing on?
Yes, it is.
Ladies and gentlemen. Hi.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here's Mikey.
Yeah, you like my intro? I sound like shit. Yeah, I sound like shit.
Yeah, it's just your OnlyFans voice. Who are you kidding?
It is, yeah. This is what it is. So I'm drinking water tonight. I've been drinking
Evening joints
heavily the last couple days. So
I don't blame you, especially sounding like that. Not trying to be offensive with that. Just calling it how I see it.
But like, doing pop-ups.
Yeah. What's up, real deal?
Talk to people. Trying to talk to people over music and bar chatter and all that, and being like, "What do you want?"
Yeah, your voice already sucks, and you're trying to talk over that.
It's not helping, right?
And now we're here talking.
Now we're here. So I know we don't have a specific topic for tonight, but I had this topic idea that I was going to send to you a couple days ago, and somehow I just forgot to send it. But I also, I was trying to work out the topic idea, because you and me both know how we'll get a topic idea, but it's not a real topic yet. It's more of
do we ship the bacon?
Hey, if you want to pay for shipping, go for it. It's fucking about, it ain't gonna be cheap.
Because it costs a lot to keep it.
Yeah, and it's got to get there soon. So that's the issue.
Yeah.
So one of the things I was thinking of while cooking for this week, this past weekend and all that, I was trying to think of topic ideas, and of course my idea it's not necessarily a topic, and it's kind of difficult to put out, but in my head it works. Right? Which is a terrifying thing. But
this is how a lot of me and Mike's conversations, by the way, go when it comes to this show.
There's a lot of there's a lot involved. Hold on, I feel like my camera's really dirty. Is that better? A little.
Yeah,
bit,
that looks good.
Or is my light too bright? There you go. That's a little bit better mood lighting here. So here's my topic, or my idea.
Okay.
What was the hardest thing for you when you first started cooking to not do? Things that everyone told you, if you're looking, you're not cooking. But I feel, and then with that, what did you implement to help you get over these learning curves? Because I feel I'll throw in pork shoulders and I won't look at them for 6 hours. Right?
Yeah.
They're not even on my fucking
brain
radar for 6 hours. Obviously we're throwing in wood and doing all that shit. That temp is different. But I mean, what's inside that cooker
doesn't really matter until it's 6 hours in.
Until in 6 or 7 hours in, right? And then the other thing is we now have a lot of guys have temp gauges, right? That you're putting inside inside certain pieces of meat, and you're looking at that temp gauge and you're saying, okay, um, it's 150 or it's 125. Okay, cool. Well, I don't need to look at it because I know that it's 125 right now. It's not ready.
Yeah.
The color isn't going to look right.
We'll say that's a big part for me of things that I had to, I'll call, untrain my brain.
Yeah.
Is, reading every book, reading everything online, all the forums. When I first started getting into it, was that the recipes aren't magically perfect. That just because it says 6 hours doesn't mean it's 6 hours. Just because it says,
dot, right?
Yeah, just because it says this should take you 12 doesn't mean it's going to take you 12. Also, just because it says to use XY seasoning doesn't mean that's what you have to use. It was, I'll call it breaking away. I had to teach myself to break away from what the exact what the recipe said. Yeah. Because I think so much of barbecue, and we've talked about this before, baking is science.
Yes.
Baking is very much ingredient A done with ingredient B at this ratio for this temperature, blah, blah, blah. You get XYZ. Yes. And you change this little bit, and okay, now it doesn't rise as much, but it's fluffier, and it's science. Where cooking meat, especially cooking it in the fashion that we cook it, it's a lot more feel and just knowing your cooker. And it's I don't want to call it magical or like intuitive, but it really is kind of intuitive. Like, you learn my cooker cooks this way, and I know if I have a brisket over here that I'm probably going to be wrapping it in 7 hours.
XYZ. Yeah.
And if it's over on this corner, I'm probably wrapping it in 5.5. Mm-hmm. And it's just the things, it's a lot more touch and feel and just looking at how the cooker is cooking. Hey, I know this wood seems to be burning this way today. And it's breaking yourself out of, no, the recipe says this. I have friends that have gone to classes like Myron's and stuff. Well, Myron said to do it this way.
That's nice.
Yeah, I'm not saying Myron's wrong, but that's not the only way. That's definitely a hurdle, Blinky, and it's definitely. But we're talking more like, what did you have to unlearn because you had this theory in your head?
Well, also, like, I feel like when you first start cooking, when you first get into this world, right?
Yeah.
So many people want to look. And they want to look and I understand why. You want to look because you want to see the reaction that it's having, right? You want to
make sure it's having the reaction you want it to have. It's not that you want to see the reaction. You want to make sure it's having it.
Correct. But you want to make sure it's going down the path that you want to go down, right?
Correct.
So you start looking, right? And then these cooks that should be 5-6 hours start to turn into 8-9. Why? Because every time you open the goddamn cooker, a ton of air rushes out, cools down, and then we have to recreate. Unfortunately, the cooker is not like your oven to where you open an oven, and it's not exactly, this isn't exact, but you open your oven door. If you open your oven door for too long, the oven's going to kick on. You know what I mean? You're going to hear that kick on, and it's going to force air into it. Force
Correct.
air to get to a temp. A cooker is not really going to force air to get to a temp. And it can, but it's not like your oven.
It doesn't
unless
know
you cook
to.
On a Traeger.
It doesn't know to.
Yeah. Well, unless you cook on something that's gas assist or something like that, or
Fan assist or something. Yes.
yeah, exactly.
Yes, there are controls to do it, but
exactly. But I'm just saying, like, I was kind of like, as I was saying, I was thinking about it, and it's like, man, so many people ask questions about, well, how do you do this? How do you do that? And it's like, you start looking at it, and like, a lot of it is stuff that we take for granted, like, in a sense of being like, oh yeah, just don't touch that.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, what do you mean just don't touch? Like, just fucking leave it alone.
Well, and that is probably one of the hardest things for anybody to understand, because so many people are used to doing things like cooking in a frying pan.
And you could see it.
And you can, well, not only can you see it, but you tend to be moving it around and keeping it from burning and things like that.
Sure.
And people have that kind of mindset.
But also, when you're going from like grilling to smoking, a lot of times you could be, you're looking at it. You're looking and you're seeing immediate results.
Correct.
Right? There's not immediate results here. I can't slide shoulders into a cooker or ribs into a cooker, come back in 15 minutes and be like, oh, bark's set up.
Yeah.
Let's do this. And I think one of my, oh, why did I drop a fuck?
No, thanks. I'm good right now.
I don't know what's the question. Hold on.
He said, which is why Green Mountain Grills and others added windows to their lids.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Which is very much true on why they did that. I somehow lost the cap of the Sharpie I was playing with. I have Sharpie all over my fucking hand. I have no idea where it went.
Tell me you work in the food industry without telling me you work in the food industry. You have lots of Sharpies.
More Sharpies than I know what the fuck to do with. But when I need one, I can't find one to save my fucking life. To be honest, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, I fucking need a Sharpie. And you're like, oh, they don't exist anymore.
That's the one reason why when I was at the restaurant, I liked wearing my apron. Because I always had a Sharpie in the apron, and I was good at putting it back.
You go buy one yellow Sharpie.
And put the cap on the black.
You take the cap on the black one, and then it's a fucking yellow, and no one wants to touch it.
Because you can't see it anywhere.
Or you get like a pink Sharpie. You do the same thing. No one wants to touch it because they're like, well, that one's not as visible. It's hard to write. Yeah, mine's black, so fuck off. But yeah, no, that's why they did do that, and I understand it. But when you start getting into like even those Green Mountain Grills, fucking smoke on that give me 10 smokes. You can't see through that fucking glass.
No, not unless you clean it every single time.
I don't care if you clean it every single time. It's gonna get dirty.
Yeah.
It's gonna stop being clear.
Yeah.
Look at all the smokers that have glass.
Smokers, grills. Remember, for a while it was on every grill had a glass. It was on everything.
A lot of them had it. Yeah. I think Weber was the only one that didn't do that.
Yeah, Duquesne used to have a glass front.
Like, it was like that, yeah, like, stupid fucking thing. But, it's that change for what you're doing. And I think a lot of, like, the other thing that bothers me is when you watch a lot of these YouTube videos with spritzing. fucking stop spritzing every 15 minutes. So I cook my ribs for 7 hours, and every 45 minutes I spritz. So every 45 minutes, I add a half an hour to my cook.
Because you're opening it up, pulling the drawer out, taking that long to spray them all down.
Not to mention, you're spraying it with something that's cold. Because you're not spraying with, you didn't boil that and throw it into a fucking spray bottle.
Yeah.
It's not warm. Well, it's room temperature. Cool.
That's still cooler than what's inside your cooker.
Room temperature is literally 200 degrees fucking lower.
What's going on, Craig?
You know what I mean? Like, it's 200 fucking degrees lower.
Lower, absolutely. Then what?
That would be cold.
Yeah. And so you're spraying it on, and you are causing it to do a couple things. You're going to drop the temp of the meat, the outside temp. Now, remember, when we cook with a smoker, we're cooking, it's not, a microwave cooks from the inside out. We're cooking from the outside in. So if you cool down the outside, you are going to slow down your cook. Most people don't understand where we get the stall. The stall, like when you take a big piece of meat, you stall because it's literally sweating.
Yeah.
Humans sweat to cool our bodies. That's literally what that piece of meat is doing. It's sweating. So the temp stops rising in the piece of meat until it's sweated off enough moisture to allow the heat to start transferring in. Yeah. Which is why you see a lot of people and a lot of bigger pit masters, especially ones that are cooking a lot of meat, you'll see them when they're about hitting that 160 mark, they'll bump their temperatures up. Yep. That will help push it.
They'll wrap and bump.
Yeah, they'll wrap and bump to push it through the stall faster.
Yeah. You have to.
And it's amazing if you understand what you're doing, what your meat's doing, what your cooker's doing. You can do that. And like I said, most of I'll call it the pros, the guys that are doing this day in and day out commercially, that's what they do. Most of them don't cook like brisket at the same temperature start to finish.
Very rarely do I.
Yeah. Most people don't cook any of their stuff start to finish the same temperature.
I will say I cook. No, I can't even say I cook my ribs the same. No, I mean, maybe my wings, because it's such a short cook in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, maybe. I guess my pork belly burn ends, like, I cook start to finish the same time. No, that's not even true either. Fuck. No, because it's not. Because when I wrap, I go up in temp. Like now, when I make my pork belly burn ends, like, and they go into a pan with sauce, I go up in temp so that the caramelization happens faster. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but how many people are taught and read and watch videos that tell them it's 225 for 7 hours? And I think that's the other big thing that people that took me a while to get is
pregnant.
Temp swings and understanding, especially when it comes to a stick burner, understanding that you are going to go up and down because it's going to start to burn down. You're going to put more in. It's going to start off slow. Then it's going to really ignite. Your temp's going to go up some, and then it's going to come back. And
but you're trying to keep that needle kind of doing this.
Correct.
Not this.
Correct.
But this.
But how many people freak out, lose their mind?
Well, so like I was doing a class with shoulders in it, right? So I'm like, okay, well, we're eating at I think we were eating at the class was gonna eat because we feed them dinner or whatever at 3 o'clock. So I was like, cool, I'll be there at 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Cooker on.
Start going.
Shoulders. It's just 2 shoulders. It wasn't I didn't have to cook. I wasn't cooking a shit ton of them.
Yeah,
so
well,
I'll do 2 shoulders. I'll fucking do them at 275, 300. They'll be ready to wrap, and they'll be done.
yeah.
It'd be great. Well, the guys met me there in the morning to just start those, and I put them on, and I close the lid, and I'm walking away. He's like, okay, so what do we do now? I go,
Nothing.
nothing. Why? He's like, no. He's like, so we put them on.
Yep.
What do we do now? I'm like, have a beer. Get the fuck away from me. And I looked at him because it was 4:15. Because I got there, I didn't get there at 4. I got there earlier. I got there at 3. Got the cooker on because it was a smaller cooker, so it took a little bit more time to get. It took a little bit more time to come to temp. You know what I mean? And get clean smoke coming out of it and all that shit. I think that's why I like bigger cookers. I can get them to temp faster and get clean smoke out of them faster. But whatever, it's not a big deal, right? So we're doing this, and I get clean smoke by 4 o'clock. So I put them in. It's 4:15 by the time we're done, and he's asking a bunch of questions, and I'm like, okay, cool. And he's like, so what do we do? I'm like,
that would be a great shirt. Have a beer, get the fuck away from me.
Please know that is copywritten and owned by the BBQchat show. Sorry, I felt like I had to go there. No. So, you know what I mean? And he's like, well, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do?
Stop worrying.
I'm like, I look at the time. I'm like, well, the class starts at 10. Okay. So I'm going to start prepping in 3 or 4 hours. He's like, so we got here this early I go, yeah. He's like, well,
why?
Why? Because I had to get these things on. He goes, so what are we going to do? I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to go to sleep for a little bit.
Yeah.
I was running it on a fucking Weber Kamado. That thing doesn't move in temp. It's just like a big green egg.
Yeah.
I don't fucking need to check it every 10 minutes. Why would I?
Franklin. I lost you, Mike.
Oh, you lost me. I lost me. We back?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
But so, you know what I mean? It's I don't know why. You put stuff on, they're like, okay, well, what do we do? Should we flip it? No, don't fucking touch it.
Yeah, leave it the fuck alone.
Don't look at it. Don't think about touching it. Just leave it alone. Are you going to spritz it? No. There's no need to. Stop overcomplicating the goddamn thing.
And that's, again, I think that's one of the things that's hard for people want to. It's hard to believe that it couldn't be complicated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They want it to be.
I watched this guy's YouTube channel, and he told me that he spritzes his shoulders every 45 minutes to an hour. Why?
Why?
It helps build the crust.
Not if you're spritzing it that much. It's going to wash the crust off. It's going to wash the bark off.
But I mean, like, why? Well, it's adding sugars, so the sugars will caramelize and they'll add more crust. Okay. You do understand it's not a 2-hour cook. It's a 12-hour cook. I don't need to add any more fucking sugar to it.
Yeah.
We're already fighting bitter taste. Let's not fight anymore.
Yeah.
Leave it alone.
Yeah.
Let's leave it alone. Let it take a nap.
Let it take a nap.
We'll be back. It'll be okay. I think one of the worst things for me is like when I do like my pork belly burn ends. If my cooker like doesn't get back up to temp fast enough, like I've thought about cooking my pork belly burn ends like lower, right? I'm like, oh, maybe if I'm like, okay, when I was like messing around with them to really kind of perfect to where I like them.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, maybe I should cook them at 225. Or maybe I should cook them at 250. Or 260 or whatever.
Yeah. To see where the fat starts to break down at a reasonable time.
But what I find is if I cook too low, they sweat too much. And the bark doesn't form to hold everything in. So I think it's funny when people are like, oh, 225 for blah, 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 blah. The bark looks like shit. Now I find when I cook it 75 280,
your bark sets up hard, sets up fast.
Sets up hard and fast. And it looks good. And the reason I say 280 is that's where my cooker likes to sit.
But part of it is because the bark sets up and hardens, so that way even as the fat starts to sweat out and push out, it's not it's already set, so it can't. It's harder for it to wash off.
Exactly.
You say where if you're doing it low and slow, it's going to slowly. It's not going to set, and you could start to wash it off. Same reason why. I get spritzing if your cooker's a very dry running cooker, if you don't have a lot of moisture content outside, that kind of thing. Spritzing once the bark has set, once every couple hours, if you've got a dry spot and you want to add a little bit to it, I can understand it. But until that bark is set, if you spritz it, you're just washing bark off. You're wrecking your bark, so you're not going to develop it.
Now I know our third half, he spritzes.
Yeah.
But his cooker runs, I think his cooker runs a little drier.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I will be honest, I spritz once in a while, and honestly, I'm weird.
I'm not saying I never spritz. I'm just saying I don't make it a gospel of turn the timer on, we're spritzing.
Yeah, but I'm weird with what I spritz.
Time it.
My spritz is weird.
Minutes.
I can't believe it's not butter spray. That's what I actually spray for my spritz. Adds a little bit of that oil, a little bit of that richness to it.
Yeah.
And and part of the reason I do it is because it's not going to add the sugars to caramelize and get bitter.
Yeah.
So that's actually my weird
you can use just water too.
Yeah.
I gotta go to that. Like I remember when I first started doing stuff, like really getting into smoking, and it'd be like, oh shit, we don't have apple juice. Gotta go to
Yeah.
the okay, either I'm frozen or Kev is.
Phone something.
Mm.
I had an alert or a notification. I went to swipe it away, and apparently I swiped too hard, and it swiped my the app away.
Mm. That'll happen.
Yeah. So,
But yeah, that's the hard thing though. Like,
but again, like we said, that's so many people, so many books, so much stuff. That's all you hear.
yeah,
Just like how many people now are making all kinds of tallow to put tallow in their brisket.
fucking shoot me.
Hell yeah. Dude,
Perfect.
shiitake. Use shiitake. Estes is awesome. Don't get me wrong. It's awesome. Shiitake is the king.
It is a good one. It is a good one.
Wow.
Thank you for ordering.
Who's calling you a
Thank for ordering.
professional?
It's not true. But thank you for ordering. Thank you for the support. It really means the world to us. So,
You're really not. I've never found. I've done water. I've done apple cider vinegar. I've done apple juice. I've done it just to play around. I've had a spray bottle of each, and tried. Did 3 different racks, and couldn't tell the difference.
you don't get much flavor out of the spritz. At least I don't think you do, because you're not putting enough on.
Yeah.
For you to really.
And so much of it is evaporating right off.
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of it's going away.
It's either running off or evaporating off.
Yeah, or getting pushed off by sweat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
A lot.
Yeah.
It's kind of a rapey question, though. I don't want to force anything.
Yeah.
It's 2022. You're free of choice.
I did apple juice, I did apple cider vinegar, and I did water.
I've done fucking everything you can think of, dude. I've played the game. I've done orange juice. I've done fucking apple juice, cranberry juices. You know what I mean? Just trying to try stuff out.
Yeah.
Now, if you put it in the wrap, there's a different game. So, like,
but that's because it's steaming some.
Exactly.
Which is actually pushing it into the meat.
Exactly. Like you got like Mo-Kei-san does his Coca-Cola ribs.
Yep.
He puts it in the wrap. So it's there.
It's steaming into it, and it's caramelizing onto the outside.
Exactly. So like if you're putting stuff into I think the wrap is more important than the spritz.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The wrap of ribs is way more important than the spritz. I
100%.
feel like. Wait. You didn't order the right 4-pack. Hey, there's always another order. But yeah,
Estes is awesome. Don't get me wrong, Estes is awesome.
Dude, Estes is gonna. If you're also like Estes also works really, really well in pasta sauces. If you want to make not shit pasta, or if you want to make shit pasta sauces, not shit, add Estes to it, just because all the actual like texture through that rub will still live inside that pasta sauce, but yet it'll still like flavorize everything. So it's so funny. Like you can buy shit pasta sauce and just put it in there, and it's like, okay, cool, it's perfect. Or like there's times where like it'll be 2 a.m. and I'm drunk. Oh, I feel like making food, and
That
I'm
never
like, I
happens
don't.
to me ever.
Yeah, no, I'll do buttered noodles with fucking Estes on top of it, and just fucking crush it, and then go to bed and wake up in 3 hours and go to work.
Yeah.
Comp guys. See, here's the thing. Comp guys. I'm not talking about competition barbecue. I'm talking about being in the backyard, cooking for your family.
Because comp guys, part of the reason they're doing the red soda is for color.
Yeah.
So that's
And you can do that for the backyard. Don't get me wrong if you want color, but it's not what we're talking about. And commercial and comp are 5 different. They're literally the furthest things from each other. I had this conversation with one of my buddies who does. He did competition barbecue for a very long time, and he's actually been pushing just towards
catering.
SCA. No, SCA.
Oh, SCA.
And I just saw him Friday night. He got a bid to the Worlds, so he's going down there, which is awesome. And I'm like, oh, well, what cooker are you using? He's like, the C4. It's fucking great. But I just thought it was funny, so I had to bring that up for you. But, you know, that's the thing. Like, he was like, we were talking about it, and he's like, man, I'm so sick of all these restaurants that post, do you want my Memphis and May award-winning ribs? They're competition style. Bullshit. That's just a reason for you to charge $7 more for the same fucking rib that you're giving out on the other side. The only difference that you're doing is you're probably not wrapping the other ones and you're wrapping these, and that's the only difference. But you ain't doing your competition wrap.
No, because nobody would eat it.
Because no one would eat a fucking half-wrapped rib.
You'd eat one rib, maybe 2, and be like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah. I don't want any more of that. Cool,
Yeah.
Great. The fuck am I supposed to do with the other fucking 12 ribs?
Yeah.
You know,
no,
like,
it's
fuck. Also, I don't know if I sent you this. Did I send you the chef's interview on TikTok?
No. I missed out. If you did, I don't remember it.
I'll have to look it up. It's this guy. He's a comedian. Fucking kind of funny kid. He's a young comedian.
The one about, wait, you don't have a drug problem?
He's like, wait, graduated high school. Yeah, I did pretty good too.
Yeah, I did. You did send me that one.
Fuck, you want to work here?
Go work retail for like 6-7 months and then come back and talk to me.
Develop a really good drug problem and come back.
Wait, you don't drink or do any drugs? No, I don't. Yeah.
18 months later.
Wait. Is he doing a line of coke off the counter?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna get.
Don't worry about
down.
it. He's gonna fucking get through service today.
Yeah. Yeah, we're down 4 people. That's going to get him through through service tonight.
Yeah, here we go. Let's go. Like, oh my god, so funny. I literally thought about that. Like, I sent that to Amanda, and she's like, "This is very true. How did he know?" And then I went and looked up a bunch of his other stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, "So, I guess the kid's from Indiana." And he's like, "I go to Indiana State." Whatever. He's like, and I need to go to the bank. He's like, so I'm trying to consolidate some debt. He's like, but he's like, that morning, I really didn't feel like doing anything. He's like, so kind of spent $88 on OnlyFans. He's like, and I wasn't thinking about this. He's like, because I'm going to a bank for a loan. Which means
they're going to pull.
That motherfucker's going to look at what you just did. He's like, so I'm sitting there in the bank. office, all nice and whatever. He's like, and they're looking at the screen, looking at me, like, screen, blah, 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 blah. Just kept going. And he's like, and I felt it. He's like, he didn't say it, but I felt it. He was like, did you fucking masturbate all morning and then fucking come in for a $3,000?
Yes, sir.
And he's like, yeah, pretty much did. Yeah. He's like, and you know, it's like, it's just what it is. Funnier, like, just, I died laughing at this kid's skit.
That's funny.
I mean, obviously, you know, I'm big into fucking stand-up.
Yeah.
And I think what's his name is probably becoming one of my favorite. Schultz. What's his first name? He does one skit about he's like because he does a lot of crowd work.
Yeah.
And he's like this one kid. He's like, "Hey, how old are you?" He's like 20. He's like, "How old is she?" And he's like, "Just turned 18 yesterday." He goes, "Let me fucking explain to you how you answer that question."
Old enough.
He's like, no. He goes, when somebody asks, how old is she, you say 18 and legal. He's like, you don't give me the Brazzer title that you just gave me. Just turned 18 yesterday. Yeah. Like, he like starts like joking about it. And he's like, that's, you know, no. He's like,
how long have you been together?
Yeah. Well, he's like, yeah. He's like, it's basically like, he's like, man, he's like, you're getting the hamburger from the creamery. And then he like jokes and he's like, what was it like fucking her when she was 17? And the kid like goes to like answer and he's like, do not answer that fucking question. He's like, this kid wants to go to jail. So funny.
That's awesome.
Oh god, it was just so fun. Like some of the shit I've seen him do lately, I've just been like, oh my god. How's this guy getting away with this shit? Like, he's funny. Kid's funny.
Nice.
Up and coming. I'll send you a bunch of his shit.
Yeah, please do.
Sorry, I'm coughing. I sound like shit. But ask us barbecue questions or I'm going to keep talking about fucking stand-up.
So now, how'd your pop-ups go this weekend?
We sold out last night. So last night I did a pop-up from 4. I was supposed to be there till 7. We sold out at 6. I loaded up my truck and then headed to Amanda was doing they were doing a 2-staffed catered event, but I was like, do you guys want me just to come? Because it's supposed to be 80 people and they're serving, so it's going to be, you know, it's a party and they're all going to come at once.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I'll just fucking come and help. So I left my pop-up and I went to work there, and that was from 7 till
What'd you say, 10?
10. Yeah, they want us 7 to 10, like 7 to 10. And I was like, okay, so I went and worked that and then stayed at Skeleton Key and drank for longer than I should have. And then came home, got a couple hours of sleep, got up and cooked for today.
For those that don't follow us, if you haven't noticed a pattern.
Yeah, there's a slight pattern. But we cooked today. I thought it was going to be a shit fucking turnout because the first like hour was garbage.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Then everybody woke up.
Yeah, then people just started coming in, and the cool thing was a lot of them were just coming in for us.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, you know, they came in, they were walking up to us and they were like, "Hey, we're here for you. Like, is the beer good here?" So it was cool to be able to kind of do that. It wasn't a bad one today. And of course, like as we finished loading up, guy walks up. He's like, "Hey, you guys still open?"
You're like,
Yeah. Halfway through service, what we like to do is break everything down and put it in the truck and then take it all out and reset everything up so it looks nicer for the exercise.
Like the guy said, go work in retail for a little while and get a drug and anger problem.
Well, Amanda's like big joke is like nobody that cooks likes humans. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of true.
Dude, that's nobody that cooks, nobody that works in true retail, and nobody that works in the public safety.
No, nobody fucking likes humans.
Because
and then
you just see all the shit.
And then Friday night was good. Where were we Friday night? I don't actually remember where we were Friday night.
Now, how's everybody doing receiving the fact that you guys are done in Chicago?
It's been okay. We were at Riverlands Friday night, so it was a good night. The only hard thing is like it's making like transactions longer
Because everybody wants to talk to you.
Because people want to talk and people want to like ask us like all these questions, which is great. Don't get me wrong. Like if anyone's watching this that comes to a pop up, please you can
Ask questions.
You can have as much time with us as you want. It's just like to me, it's hard to balance the let me answer all your questions and there's a person behind you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I got a person right behind you. Like you can fucking ask me all the questions you want in the world. I really need to ask that person what they want to eat.
Yeah. Let me feed them.
That person behind you doesn't fucking know we're leaving and doesn't give a fuck. They just want to play the brisket.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
they're here to eat. They really don't give two flying fucks if they ever eat here again.
Yeah, they just really want a brisket, and I really want to sell it to them. So move. So it's a hard like balance, you know what I mean? But it's, and then I feel like I can like. The other thing is like, for the since we announced it, like people have been talking to us and asking us a bunch of those questions. I almost feel like I'm on autopilot.
Answering them?
Yeah. Like, I almost, like, I've caught myself a couple times where I'm like, I've said this so many times, I'm not even thinking about what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in a whole, like, my mouth is moving and I'm telling you this story, but my brain is in a whole nother, like...
Yeah, you're just on autopilot.
Yeah. Like, I don't have to tell you, like, I don't even have to think about what I'm telling you.
Yeah. Yeah, you're just chugging along with your info, and when this is done, and
Yep.
Yeah, I can imagine event, because I know how same thing happens at the shop. Like, you just
Mm-hmm.
this.
And I'm trying not to be like. The hard thing is I'm trying to give the same like, what's up, buddy?
Going on, dude?
I'm trying to give the same like respect to everyone because it's their first time hearing it.
Yeah,
but it's my 800 millionth time fucking saying it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying not to give them I really don't want to answer this question anymore.
Yeah.
Like response, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they don't feel like, oh well, he was fucking a dick.
Like when somebody's got a broken arm and you have to go out and like, yes, I broke my arm doing XYZ. Leave me the fuck alone about it.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Go get it.
There we go, my friend. It's not hard. The surf thing, like the small one, isn't hard.
Yeah.
The manager one can be tricky, and it can be tricky only because they ask. At least on my test, I don't know how certain states work. They'll ask misleading questions sometimes.
They ask you trick questions, trying to trip you up.
Well, because they'll be like on mine, I know they like said like one thing. It was like, like you walk into the prep room and there's garbage somebody put garbage on the prep table. Do you clean it with sanitizer? Do you take the garbage out and then, you know what I mean? Like, and you were like, so many people are like, oh, you clean it with sanitizer. Like, 'cause that's the first thing. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
you know. So.
Follow up with Department of Health was at the house today. Okay. Are they happy? Did you find out what they were actually trying to charge you with? But they were here to tell us they're rooting for us. Awesome.
Okay.
So did you find out then who's complaining about you? That they had to do
Burn
something?
their house down. I mean, don't do that. It's frowned upon. Masturbating on an airplane.
I just think of the movie Deadpool. Dopinder's when he's talking to the taxi driver.
Oh,
Go.
yeah.
Dopinder, what are you doing?
Exactly. Oh, my child is screaming downstairs. I can hear her through my vents. It's fantastic.
I can hear her too.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Now you know the real reason why Mike is now up in the office and not down at the kitchen table.
Oh, the office is so much better. You don't have to hear that. Amber's like new thing is like screaming, just screaming for no reason. Like if you tell her no, she just starts screaming.
Yeah.
I don't know if she picked it up like on YouTube or something.
No, it's just something they do because Maddie's been doing it now Maddie's in the whining and screaming about everything phase.
Yeah.
Like everything. You could be like, hey, can you just take a step to the side? And you lose it. Yeah. Yep. So, is she excited for your trip? Or does she not even understand it?
Hold up. I
think there's some excitement, but I think there's a lot of lack of understanding of what's actually happening.
Yeah.
I think the first few weeks are going to be difficult for her.
Yeah.
Because I don't think she's going to understand that, like, we're moving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, like, the home she's always known is no longer going to be there, kind of type thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're getting something new. So I think to her,
and not only new, but away from not only is the house new, but everything else is new.
And it's away from everybody.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm trying to listen to see what the fuck she's saying. Well, like the other day, she had like made a bowl of mac and cheese, right? And the child didn't make it themselves. We helped her.
Just to clarify,
she took like 2 bites out of it and then left it. And then like half an hour later, she's like, "I'm hungry. I want mac and cheese." And we're like, "Okay, so we'll heat up the mac and cheese that you just didn't eat fucking 20 minutes ago." "No, I want a new mac and cheese." We're like, "No, eat this one.
We can reheat it.
Well, I mean, eat this one, and if you eat this one and you want another one, we'll fucking make you another one." "No, I want to eat the new one, and then if I'm still hungry, I'm going to eat that one." No.
It's not how this works, kiddo.
Yeah, no. So I think she just likes making the mac and cheese. And then like, she was like, we're like basically telling her, no, we're not doing it. And she like tried opening the bag by herself, and just like noodles went everywhere, and she just started screaming. and yelling, and I was like, I think I'm gonna kill the show. And like we were trying to calm her down, and she like wouldn't calm down. She just kept screaming.
The joys of small children.
Yes, don't have any of them.
No.
It's true. It's so much easier not to.
So I get to cook one of my favorite things to cook, not next week, but the week after.
What are we cooking?
Prime rib.
Ooh.
A full whole primal.
You going full?
Yeah, full bone, already a boneless one, because I'm serving 20 some odd people with it. So boneless, I can actually serve what I need. But we're doing,
instead of hitting bone or whatever.
Yeah, we're doing prime rib, baked potatoes.
Is this for the firehouse?
Yeah, for our Christmas dinner. I'm debating now what I'm going to do for another vegetable. I may just do bacon wrapped asparagus, which is usually very good. You know, I take 3 stalks, wrap it up, throw it on the smoker. We'll say when the bacon's done, they're done.
Pretty much.
And then I got to do poppers, probably do some wings. I may try making the new big thing everybody makes with the shotgun shells. Have you seen those?
Which ones are the shotgun shells? Fuck.
The manicotti stuffed with like
Yeah.
hamburger and cheese and then wrapped in bacon and smoked.
Yeah.
I may try making part of me is trying. It's going to seem awful. And for those that know me, one of my things I'm known for out here is jalapeno poppers. Don't ask me why, but I am. And
you're the only one easy enough to fucking sit there and stuff them.
Well, that's why I kind of want to try making the shotgun shells, just to see if not having to deal with the jalapeno.
I feel like either one has like a lot of labor in it.
There is, but I'm trying to find another appetizer other than wings.
Yeah.
And I've done moink balls, and I'm not a huge fan.
We do meatballs. We do we do smoked deviled eggs, but those are not any less.
No, those aren't any less labor intensive.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. They're not any less. They're actually probably more. Whenever we get like large orders for like deviled eggs, I'm like,
fuck.
Well, because you know what I mean. That we had one person that was like, we do 2 deviled eggs per person.
Yeah.
That's our portion.
Yeah.
So when someone's like, we want deviled eggs for 80,
you're like,
it's like 160 fucking deviled eggs. Which, if you want to know the best way to transport those fucking things, is you get egg holders on Amazon. They're plastic egg holders, and they hold 36 per tray or whatever, and they have lids so you can stack them super high.
Yeah,
awesome, and they're like fucking like $5.
I will remember that.
Not each, but like a pack of like 4, like $5.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just trying to find something else
that you can make. Appetizers are hard for barbecue.
Well, here's what kills me about any appetizer. Other than making, I'll call it a dip. Really, when you think about it, most appetizers are almost more annoying and more time-consuming than making a meal.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, you got to cut this, you got to cook this, you got to do that. Where, like, let's be honest, like, okay, I do a brisket. I trim it, I season it, I put it on. I cut it, I serve it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but then, like I said, any appetizer is like, you got to add this and then make this. And first you got to make this to put it in this. And It's just like, motherfucker, why is the fucking shit the only appetizer personally that is not the only two that are not labor intensive is fucking garlic bread and wings.
Have you thought about doing pigs in a blanket?
I've thought about doing them in the cooker. I don't know. I go back and forth. I haven't tried it.
I've done them.
It's probably one of those things I don't know. How do they come out in a big cooker?
Not bad. They just can't sit long
Yeah.
because they get cold fast.
Yeah. I
And
could
that's
see
one of those
doing
things
them.
where, like, that's one of
doing
those things
them-
where, like, they're not great cold.
Yeah. Like I could see doing them on the egg for like a party at the house.
Yeah.
But like to do a tray of 150 of them or
Yeah,
something.
that's a hard one. Yeah, shit.
You know what I mean?
I'm trying to think.
Like the other day for the Marine Corps, I did 66 poppers and I did 25 pounds of wings.
Yeah.
And you know, the wings really aren't bad. You fucking season them and fucking smoke them.
Yeah.
Again,
Not
I'm
much work.
yeah. That's my thing is I'm looking for stuff that's not a lot of physical, that the prep is that it's quick prep.
I'm trying to think.
And there's not a lot. Like I said,
There's not.
think about it. Oh, I want to make a taco ring. Oh, I want to do this. I want to do.
Unless it's a dip. Unless it's like a dip. You know what I mean? Which is not really an appetizer that most people
What?
will talk about.
Yeah.
Unless you're like a suburban housewife and you're like, hey,
Yeah, I
got this awesome dip recipe.
I can make a good spinach artichoke dip in the smoker. Like it comes out really good. I've done buffalo chicken dip.
But when people see that, they're like, oh, they made a dip.
Exactly. You stirred some ingredients together and heated it up. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Really went out on a limb there.
Yeah.
Um,
But like I said, if you think about it, like most appetizers really are labor intensive.
yeah, very much so.
Look at potato skins.
Now those are a little less. Straight fucking potatoes for 5 years.
And unless you're going to make, you know, mashed potatoes with what you're scraping out.
This is what I was just about to say. You got to figure out what the fuck you're gonna do with the insides.
Yeah.
Because usually, like when you make them, it's like you have, awesome. I have 37 pounds of potatoes.
Yeah.
What do I do with this shit?
Well, and like I said, it's really no easier because we'll say, okay, it's we'll say I'll compare it to the jalapeno popper. I have to cut it in half, clean it,
Yep.
put the filling in, wrap it with bacon. If I'm gonna do, you know, potato
You
skins,
don't have to wrap it with bacon. You can just bacon crumble.
but then I had to cook the bacon ahead of time to have the crumble.
Yeah.
Like actually, you know, that might actually not going to be less labor intensive, but it might be fun to do. Would be to do like a potato skin, but like wrap it with the bacon and like have the half of the potato, put the filling, put the stuff inside, squeeze it together, and wrap the bacon to hold it together so it almost makes a pod. That'd be kind of interesting. It'd be a lot of work, but like if I was doing,
you'd have to toothpick them all too.
yeah. But like I'm just thinking for like my brain's thinking about like for a competition, like if I had to do, like if there was an appetizer, you know, ancillary, that'd be kind of cool.
I'm sure there are. There's a bunch of them. SCA. I'm trying to think of like
SGA does them. KCBS does them a lot. They do ancillaries. like, and I've done pickle poppers. So I've done, instead of using a jalapeno, I've done with pickles. But
Everything I'm thinking of is so labor intensive that it's not worth it.
yeah. Or you need a deep fryer.
We need deep fry, yeah.
And not that we'll say deep frying the egg, but I'm not deep frying in the freaking Lang.
I don't know that you could get it hot enough to deep fry in the Lang.
No, I will say I'd be causing other damage. I'd be damaging things if I tried to deep fry in the Lang.
Yeah.
There's just not a lot.
No, there's not. Unless,
like I said, moink balls. Okay, so you get pre-made meatballs. You wrap them with bacon and cook them. Okay, they're okay. They're not my favorite.
see, I make our meatballs.
Which then you go back to labor intensive.
Even more labor, yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing I think a lot of people don't understand about restaurants. How many of them, like, if you've never been to a place like Restaurant Depot and you walk by the frozen products, there's so many. And the reason there's so many is because labor is the killer.
Yeah. Well, so I used to go to a, it was like a restaurant meetup that they would do every other month. And it was almost like a little like restaurant show. But like you would go there and you could talk to people and you could connect with people and all that shit. And then there'd be like vendors too around and they'd be like, hey, let me show you my new blah, 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 blah. And man, I don't know how many of the things were like the big thing at those shows were like frozen to fryer.
Yep.
And they were like, you don't have to thaw these. They can go in frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if you do? Fuck, everything's labor intensive.
And like I said, a big part for me is I'm by myself.
Yeah.
So that's why it's.
Yeah, no, it's labor intensive.
Like,
it's labor intensive.
I make,
nothing you do.
like when I do jalapenos, I try to make them the night before.
So yeah.
Just because then I'm not
but at least
trying
you
to
can.
get them. Yeah. But how many restaurants buy buy the already built ones and deep fry them, and here you go.
Fucking almost every single one of them.
Calamari, chicken, that's why so many people eat chicken tenders, is because they're the same goddamn thing from everywhere.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because let's be honest, I'll take chicken tenders. Really, for a restaurant to make fresh chicken tenders, the amount of labor or the cost to buy the chicken already done into tenders, or to cut chicken breasts into tender strips, then dredge them, if you're going to leave them in buttermilk for the night, overnight to get tender, dredge them, fry them, and serve them versus and done, especially because for a lot of that stuff, it's fucking, you could do all the same work and let's be honest, it's going to taste the same.
A lot of it, yeah.
Sometimes. And a lot of it, what you could change for flavor, you can add at the end of frying it.
Unless you're like a real chicken place, like they're really making good chicken, then it's different. But like your average restaurant that doesn't specialize in chicken,
yeah,
it's gonna be a hard sell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I get it. And I can't blame a restaurant for doing it because let's be honest, the other problem is when somebody's ordering chicken tenders, they're not
$5.
well that and they don't want to pay more than $5, we'll say.
Or yeah, they look at that meal to be cheaper. Yeah.
Yeah. And we all know if you actually wanted to do that as a fresh done meal,
It's going to cost a lot more money. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's going to cost a lot more money.
Yeah.
I mean, but at the same time, like, that's what most people don't value is their labor when they first start this shit.
Yep.
They won't value their labor, and they'll come into it with, well, how much should this food be? Oh, I'm going to do it for this. Okay, but why? Well, briskets, or let's just use shoulders, $2 a pound. I'm just going to round. $2 a pound. I got a 10-pound shoulder, so it's $20. Yield is probably 70%.
On a good day.
So on a good day, so you'll get 7 pounds out of that ish. So you get 7 pounds out of that on a good day. So now my cost is for a shoulder was whatever. Let's just say 30.
Yeah.
With seasoning, pans, blah blah blah. And charcoal and whatever, right? Or what wood or whatever you're cooking over. Okay. Well, what are you going to sell it for? Well, I think I'm going to sell it, my per pound price is what, $6 a pound-ish?
Yeah.
It's cost? Okay, so I'm going to sell it for $9. So you're going to make $3 per pound? Yeah. Do you not think that's enough? That's not what I'm asking. Well, do you not think it's enough? Do you think I need to go higher? What's your cost percentage to what your
What it's called actually cost? Yeah.
Well, I mean, the labor's free. No. Labor's not free. I understand that you're doing the labor, but it's not free. Because eventually, if you want to grow,
you're going to have to hire
you're going
people.
to be the one doing it. So now there has to be some kind of, and you can't go from being $9 a pound
to $22
a pound.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I went crazy, but you know what I mean? Like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Because you can't be like, well, I just hired a bunch of people, so clearly you have to pay for it. That's not how it works. Now, I get, like, people will be like, well, don't, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, like, don't count your hours because you'll fucking go crazy. No, I get it, don't, but figure out what that pork shoulder costs you.
Yeah.
And then price from there.
Price accordingly.
And the problem is so many people won't price accordingly. And then you get well, my guy says that he'll do how much is a pan of shoulder? Like a pulled pork pan. $100. Okay. Well, my guy said he'd do it for $50. Cold out there?
Oh, what's going on? Oh man. You ever mistake your gloves for? Oh man. Got some beef on it from my butt, I think. I think it's all right. Let's
What's
cool
up,
up. This one
buddy?
smells like park. So do my boxers, my friend. So do my boxers. All right.
But
So hey, I don't mean to come in, but bro, seriously, just for 1 second, super pumped. These are rad.
thanks, sir. Thank you.
I just love them, man. They make me
Thank
happy
you.
inside, and they
Thank
save my
you.
beautiful piano man hands.
So, you know what I mean? Like, people don't do their. It's like, oh well, this guy said he'd do it for 60. Okay, fine, go with that guy. I'm not here to have a race to the bottom. That's not my goal in life. You know what I mean? And so many people, like you were saying, like with the chicken tenders, in a way, for a while, it was a race to the bottom to see how cheap they could fucking make those goddamn things. Now the problem is chicken's getting like outrageously
Ridiculous.
priced.
Yep.
So it's like, how do you? I don't know.
How do you justify it?
Yeah.
I'm just happy I'm taking welding classes.
He's like, I got to get done with this fucking cooking shit.
Oh my god.
No,
bro.
I mean, but it's kind of true. And then I don't know how I got on welding TikTok. I think it's you. Maybe like you're
I
like
probably sent you some on that TikTok. I don't know. I don't know on
no.
TikTok.
I just feel like
the
maybe
Chinese.
maybe it just hears me and it's like, oh well,
The Chinese.
talking about it. So
That's the Chinese.
you need to get it on.
Say
But there's
communism
just so
once in front of your phone. See what happens. Turn TikTok on right now. Be like, communism.
So like there, like I don't know if your welding teacher does this. So I was gonna ask you. There's like this guy on TikTok that does it. He's like, well, what do you think you're worth per hour right now?
Oh yeah.
And the students are like, well, I think I could get like $17. Like, you're worth like 37. And I just want to be like,
It was pretty accurate from what I don't know if we saw the same one, but I was like, okay, yeah, that's.
Well, I like the one where it's the job pays anywhere from 18 to 30, and the guy turns in 2 samples. And they're like, why are you turning in 2 samples? And they look at it, and one looks like shit, and one looks fucking, a roll of dimes. And they're like, well, what's this? That's if you want to pay me $18. That's if you pay me 30. Take your pick what you want.
That's a guy you want to hire. And you're like, okay, this man knows his stuff. Yeah. But it's true. I mean, it's honest. That makes sense. I mean, I've seen that before where the instructor is just like, wow.
But I just feel like sometimes the instructors are giving unrealistic expectations for when you first come out of school.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, you have no experience.
So yes, maybe your work could get $30 an hour. Maybe, and I'm not saying he's wrong. What I'm saying is a lot of guys don't know you.
Right. That's the thing. You got to get your feet wet before you can do anything. You got to even know what you're talking about.
It takes you 3 hours to weld that, and it looks good. But somebody who's been out of school for 5, 6, 7 years, they'll do the same thing in 20 minutes.
And they'll charge you more.
Well, no, I understand that, but you get what I'm saying. Like,
yes.
But think about, you have tattoos. There are tattoo artists that are fucking phenomenal and take 12 hours to do this, and there are guys that will do just as good of a job, and it takes them 2.5.
But I mean, we're talking about different things, though, too. I mean, I get.
I think it's just the art. What I'm saying is the experience. Sometimes you got to pay per the job, not per the hour.
Right.
And that's and I think that's hard for a lot of people to understand. Is, well, how come I have to pay you for the job? Well, maybe I work really fast.
Well, there's definitely that, and that's where we're getting into like foreman territory, or that's you're running your own ship type deal. Most welders, at least the dirt bags I know, making a freaking ton of money doing, welding. I'm like, hey, I need some help with my welding homework. How you in blueprint reading? I don't know, send it on over. I'm like, all right. Text them, picture of blueprint. They're like, oh, that's above my pay grade there, buddy. I'm going to tell you. Like, because there's a foreman on job. There's an engineer. They're like, hey, go weld that. All right.
Yeah.
And guy welds it like a freaking champ. And he knows, like, that line. You know what I mean? He knows stick welding, pipe welding.
There's a difference between a welder and a fabricator.
There, yes. And then you got pipe welding, too, which is the whole, pipeline guys.
Yeah.
You got to learn how to.
But that's kind of the difference between a head chef and a line cook. The head chef can do the line cook's job, but most people don't realize all the other stuff, the ordering, the scheduling, all the other stuff a head chef does.
Yes.
And that's one of the problems that happens is the guy, the line cook goes, fuck, I'm the one cooking all this shit.
Right.
And there's a
I can outcook him.
But can you do the rest of the job? And that's, like I said, there's a difference between somebody that can weld and I come in and I go, weld here to here, this needs to be attached here, versus a fabricator who can look at, who you go, I need something to do this. And they figure out how to make something to do this.
Right. And that's when you get into design aspects, you get into the engineering portion. But the original argument was like, all right, based off of this weld, how much can you make an hour?
Yeah.
And that by itself is pretty accurate. I mean, my buddy owns an exhaust shop, does custom exhausts for Harleys and Porsches and Lamborghinis, Ferraris, crap like that. Yeah. And it's all stainless steel. It's freaking beautiful.
That's a whole different world of welding.
And so, it's TIG welding. So he goes, his interview is like, hey, go weld this. And he sees what the guy can do, and he's like, all right, man, you're freaking hired then.
Yeah.
And you're making this much an hour, and you cool with that? Well, I think my welds are worth this. And then we got the bargaining, negotiating process.
Then you start negotiating.
Right. But you can be really good in just one thing of welding and
make money. No, absolutely.
They make it, but to your credit, you're absolutely right. It'd be like me saying, hey man, I'm really great at tri-tip. Okay, can you smoke a brisket? Can you smoke pulled pork? No, but I'm really good on a tri-tip with some Kingsford charcoal on a Weber. Really, really good. That's awesome. You're really good at that. And what else do you know? That's where experience comes into play. I mean, that's like anything, anything else. And you have to that, especially a fabricator. But there's guys at refiners can make a freaking ton of money just doing. I don't like calling them dumb welds because it takes you got to know some stuff to be a welder, but takes some math quality. I ain't talking Common Core. I was just helping my daughter out with math. I swear to God, I hate it. We're both going to be failing math.
4th grade math.
Yeah, I know. But I'm like, oh, ISO-smart, SMRT. I mean, SMART. Yeah.
The hard thing is they're changing math.
Because somehow numbers don't add up the same way anymore.
I heard it was Joe Rogan on the podcast the other day. He was talking about how the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is the reason why. Like, they got it all stuck in people's head that, math is wrong now. There's some stand-up comedian who's like, there's nothing wrong with old math. Old math works just fine. But, like, if you came over to my house and, like, hey, just go around, the back door. Is the front door broke? No, it's not broke. It's, a lot of people use it still. Like, I use it. But just, go around and jump over the fence. The extra work it does go into making Common Core math. He's from Tennessee. I did a horrible accent. But
no, that's kind of true.
No,
you got to do this, and this. I'm like, but I could just.
Yeah, here's the answer right here. No.
Well, I like when you used to have to show your work.
Oh.
Well, you didn't do it right. Well, wait, was my answer correct? Yeah, but you didn't get to it the right way.
Right.
Wait, I got to the answer, so I did it right.
See, but that's where a whole nother conversation of like,
it's stupid.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're gonna get into. That's how we lose watchers. Yeah, talking about Common Core math. Oh, okay, bye.
Yeah.
Anyways, how was that barbecue in the middle of the freaking forest? Did you hear banjo playing?
Dude, that's one of my favorite events to do. I love.
That look like a
I've
rat.
done it.
Definitely heard banjo.
Go ahead.
Ding,
Tell
ding,
people
ding,
about
ding.
it. If you
So I cook. We have a Marine Corps league in town that the family it's named after and everything is very good friends of mine, and the kid he was Marine and everything that is now one of the head guys at it. I've now cooked for it. I think this was like the 4th year I've done it.
Nice.
They do a camp out where they go out into the woods. They have an area that they do it. They do a big bonfire. A bunch of the guys camp and sleep out in the fucking woods. It's just we'll say it's an old school woods party. And
do they bring
moonshine and
matches?
bonfires.
Do they bring
Or
what?
do they bring matches, or are they like super Marine where they're like, we're gonna figure out how to light this fire without matches?
That's always lit before I get there, so it's probably a good thing I'm not there.
It's not like bushcraft or anything, right?
So, and what we do is we now take a UTV, and I basically have everything cooked and prepped, and we tow my smoker out there, and we just use the smoker to serve it, to keep it hot. The guys like it. It looks cool. And so we did 16 racks of ribs, 66 jalapeno poppers, and 25 pounds worth of wings.
Sounds about right.
Because they don't do it as dinner. We'll say we're drinking, so it's snacks to at least put something in your belly.
Yeah.
Is it like towards the evening or what?
Say that again?
Is it towards the evening or is it like 11?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get out there about 8:30 at night.
Oh, okay. So then you smoke until like the freaking what?
No, everything. No, I cook it. I have it all we'll say cooked before I get there.
Gotcha. Okay.
If I have to finish something off, I'm basically getting there to serve.
Okay.
But the guys like it because it's fucking cool. They're out in the middle of the fucking woods, and here we come with the UTV towing my smoker.
Yeah.
And it's lit already. Like it's already lit and rolling smoke, and we park it, and I start serving.
Yeah, I can't. I have to clean out my firebox every time before I leave, even if I got gaps in the firebox.
You gonna fix those welds?
I'm taking off. I already got my firebox, the new one. I want halfway built.
Nice.
So yeah, that's what got me into wanting to do more welding. Is because I already welded it with the MIG welder. I mean, don't get me wrong. Most of it looks like Seagull shit, but I had some buddies come and fix what I broke. But yeah, the worst part is now that I've gotten into welding a bit more.
You're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
The fuck did I do?
Not what I did. But what I got to begin with.
Yeah.
It's like, man, you were mad at me. It's just funny. It's like once you start realizing stuff and you can look around and be like, wow, I can do better than that now.
Yeah.
But it's cool that was the main reason, is wanting to be able to fix my own stuff. But yeah, I can't, like, I want to make it a double walled firebox and then put some insulation in there. And in the future, I could just put like a kind of like a warmer box right on top of the firebox, just keep food warm.
Yep, that's what mine has, is the warmer, and I use it. That was what I did. Was all the ribs were finished, wrapped, and they were sitting in the warmer.
Nice.
And what I did out in the woods just for the show was I sliced them there, and then like I said, then I panned them. The wings went into a pan. The poppers went in a pan, and as you saw in the picture, that's been my new thing I've been doing. Is I literally leave them right on the rack and just pull the rack out.
Nice.
The heat and smoke's kind of rolling out from the cooker. It's putting the smell in the air. It's keeping the stuff warm. It looks fucking cool because these guys are like fucking. They're reaching into the cooker.
The positive vibe count goes up like 100%. It's
terrifying
stupid.
his insurance agent.
Oh, probably. God. But the funny thing is, though, it's like when you show up with just the food, you do not get the same reaction or the same vibe as you would
No,
if you show up
unfortunately.
with the smoker. It's just the way it is.
But the
Well, and that's
problem is,
what
like, there's certain places you can't show up with the smoker.
with a cooker. Well, and that's
Yeah.
what me and Mike have talked about. We'll say when you look at a mixing cooker versus like my Lang or a Primitive or another offset pit.
Right.
If you know what Mike's is and you know Mixon's name and stuff, you can go, oh fuck, that's cool. But
Right.
for a lot of people, it looks like a fucking cabinet.
Yeah, they just don't get what it is. Yeah.
They don't get what it is. Where when you roll up with something like my Lang, you go, oh fuck, that's a big smoker. Like
Pretty much, yeah.
you know what it is, and as I put it, it's kind of that one is a muscle car, one is a supercar.
Exactly. No, it
Because-
makes complete sense. It's a different tool for a different situation. Yeah, it's a different cook. And don't get me wrong, man. I would love to have an Austin City Works offset 1,000-gallon smoker. Those things are ridiculously beautiful.
Those Centex, Primitive, any one of them are fucking beautiful cookers.
Yeah, Mossberg. They look. I mean, not Mossberg. You know what I'm talking about.
Moberg.
God, Mossberg is a shotgun. But
As I say, be careful because he comes on here once in a while.
no, it's freaking gorgeous, man. They're absolutely gorgeous. And I've cooked on a Mixon, and if you know, it's like, okay, that's impressive. I mean, when you see one, you just know the quality and the options you have.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and how it cooks. You know, just a science.
Well, you
of it
can
is
do
amazing.
you can push that smoker harder.
Yeah.
Then you can push basically anything else.
And you can push others. You know what I mean? You can, especially the H2O, like with that water, it puts so much moisture into that damn chamber
Yeah.
that you can really, really push temperatures.
Yeah.
Bro, it's the
places
one I've cooked
never
on was
won.
for Whitey Morgan. And
Yeah.
freaking
He's got the
Austin
7-2.
City. Yeah, well, it's Austin City. Is it Austin City Works or Austin? I can't who makes they make the smokers. Austin City. I can't remember. Anyways, they got him a double barrel 500-gallon smoker
Trailer.
too,
Yeah.
on the same trailer, and I'm like, God, damn, those things are gorgeous. I know it's a ton of work, but I would love to have one of those things, man. I mean, that's really where the skill is. That skill is where it's at.
$30,000 with just
Oh, easy.
smoker.
Easy.
Oh yeah.
More maybe.
Yeah. I mean, nowadays, trying to find propane tanks is a feat in itself.
Well, and I think
Which is
that's why
why-
you got guys like Lang who stopped using propane tanks, and he just rolls his own steel now.
Yeah.
Well, because I think he looked at it like he was like, he's more of an affordable smoker.
He is.
Lang's a little bit more affordable into the sense of like, you're not going to pay for like 1,000-gallon Moberg. It's like fucking 30, 40 grand.
Well, that and the other thing is when you're going to build it from the ground up, especially when you're doing something like a reverse flow,
Sure.
and you have to add, and you've got the pan and the drain, it's much easier to build it from the ground up. We'll say before you put the ends on, you can get in there and you can put the drain, you can weld in the pan, versus the ends are on and you're trying to climb in there to do all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The modeling job sucks.
It's a lot of work no matter what. Hey, it could be worse. You could be so my buddy sells brick ovens, like for pizza ovens.
Yeah.
And I was like, so what happens like if like there's a crack in the floor or whatever? They're like, well, you cool the oven down completely. And then you gotta have a guy get his fucking ass in there and chisel out the fucking floor. I'm like, fuck that shit, no. Like, I know. Like,
Yeah,
you could not
that's-
pay me enough money
No.
to
It's
try
like a
to
big-ass green
squeeze
egg.
my... Yeah, but just try to squeeze your ass into one of those things? Like, even if you're... I'm not talking about the fact that I'm fat. Like, I'm talking about the fact that the dome's here, and you're like, you
Tink,
can't take a
tink.
big swing and take.
I'm sure
you know what I
you're
mean?
gonna have like a pneumatic like chip it all out. And
I'm sure they do
man,
now, yeah. But
yeah,
before,
that would suck.
fucking hammer. And,
Tink, 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 tink.
yeah.
Dude, it's the same as welding. If you're
Hey, you need Andy. You'd have to get Andy Dufresne in there.
Yeah. Like,
Can you imagine if you're like they told us in welding school? They're like, yeah, man, if you're short and you're skinny, you'll have work forever. I'm like, dude, I'm gaining 20 pounds after if I decide I'm gonna be welding. I think you're gonna put me in any butt crack to go freaking hey, weld us together. I'm like, can't fit. Sorry. Go hire that jockey over there. He's fine.
He's 4'2". It's fine. You can get in there.
Look at all those room for activities.
But see Sean, what we find to be like really contained spaces, I guess you would probably just be like, oh, this is okay. I got room.
You know, it gets cold sometimes. It's a bad picture. It's the wrong angle.
I just got out of the shower.
I thought I washed the whole net of those photos. Man, it's a real problem.
You know,
Not for me.
Internet never forgets.
What's going to happen?
People don't forget.
Yeah, they do. There's so much white noise now. Just so much shit is shoved down your throat. And in about 2 years, everyone's like, what happened last year?
Dude, you could be at a high school party with like 200 people and you crapped in the pool diarrhea and everybody saw it. Nowadays, like, homie, that's like the 5th time I've seen that this week. You're good. The internet.
Yeah. The internet's good.
You're all right. It's fine. Kardashians would do something stupid, or Kanye will get on the radio and start. It's not even
talking.
It's
just talking. That's all he has to do. Get on and talk.
You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Just had to shake that out of my head. I was so confused.
Sean, we were asking this question earlier,
All right.
and I'm going to ask you this question because I want to know what your input is on it.
All right.
When you first switched from like grilling to smoking, okay,
Right.
what was the hardest thing for you to stop doing?
Like to understand that you had to change and you couldn't cook the same way.
Yeah.
Drinking so much so early. Yeah. I had to learn how to
That is
maintain.
the best answer of all of us.
That was the best answer.
I pretty much had to make, because grilling is like you have a certain amount of time. It's not that much. It's like,
In grilling, you got to get it in fast.
we're like, all right, we're doing burgers. All right, we're doing Jameson shots of 5 at a time.
No, but you know what I mean. Like, okay, so if you're doing burgers even with tri-tip, because tri-tip doesn't you have a little bit of time, but you're not.
It wasn't
short,
such
right?
a big leap. It wasn't such a big leap for me because the first thing I really grilled was chicken, and I did it so wrong so many different times that I weeded out all the wrong ways to do it. And all
but I'm saying when you went into bigger meats and you went into longer smokes.
But it starts here. So this is what happens. Like I realized, all right, I'll sear each side of the chicken thigh, and then that's it. I put it on the cool side, put the lid on with the vent over the chicken, and that somehow clicked for me. Just that aspect of it, where it's like slow cooking the chicken. You're not just grilling it the whole time. You just that clicked with me. So when I went to go do an offset, I use an offset smoker, like a backyard barrel smoker. I was like, all right, this makes sense. Because I'm basically just indirect a little bit farther away. Cool. So I'm not getting, it made it a lot easier to work with, say with, what was the first thing I smelled? I think it was ribs. Yeah.
Now, did you struggle with checking them though?
Like we mean like doing things like, hey, I thought I had to keep doing this kind of thing, like checking it every 5 minutes or that kind of thing. Like in your head, what did you think you needed to do that you took you a little bit of time to learn? Oh, fuck that. Like that is not necessary and people are talking out their ass.
God, there's a few. Most, I think what got me the most in the beginning was using temperature gauges. I basically, and that's why I'm not so great with it now, because I was like, every time I follow with the gauge, it screwed me up somehow. And like, I remember doing a turkey, and it was so damn dry, but the temps were right on. I'm like, something's not right. And I used a couple different, readers. I early on, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to either undercook stuff or overcook stuff until I get it right, because my gut was really good when I felt like, okay, I think it should come out now. I didn't really mess. I was looking a little too early, but I'd be looking like every 20 minutes or something. You know what I mean? Every half an hour, or I'd sprayed apple juice way too early, or like on the ribs, like, let it get some bark on there, stupid. You stop opening it up every hour to spray it, because that first few hours needs to get
It needs time to just sit.
Yeah. So,
and that's what, like we were saying, it's like that's what a lot of guys or girls or whoever the fuck's cooking really. I think a lot of people struggle with the fact that, like, I'll close it, put it in, close it, and walk away.
That's a huge problem out here. It's California. I mean, bro, it's the land of the cookout, but gas grills are, that's all you see. And I mean, especially when I started, it was like I started the company in 2010. And I was grilling and smoking way before that, where it was like it was hard to find wood, real good wood to, well, I mean, not when I knew where to find it, because we had a bunch of orchards out here, but I was looking for hickory, and once you know where to go looking, but I mean, it was, definitely, I remember using the apple juice and not moving the briskets around like I'm supposed to. I'd just be like, all right, that's good there. Like, no, move them, idiot. There's different spots in your smoker that are harder than others, and reading all that stuff. But yeah, no, that's a good question. I'm trying to think of what else. Yeah, I messed up a lot of stuff, but I'm lacking brain cells, so I can't remember them all. I got great stories I forgot.
Okay, you made the memories. It was great.
Yeah.
No, but you know what I mean? And that's what we were saying.
I still have
earlier.
the charges. They're pending, so I guess it's all right. I don't know.
But that's what we were saying, like, earlier. It's like there's so many times where it's like I did a barbecue class, and I got there at 3 a.m. to start the smoker, so that they, I could get my pork shoulders on, and they would be at a certain range and whatever. And I put the pork shoulder on, and the guy that was there with me is like, okay, so what do we do now? I'm like,
no,
drink.
Yeah, like, what do you mean? He's like, well, like, are we gonna check in like 25 minutes? I'm like, no.
Hope you brought a book.
Yeah, like, he's like, and then like even after like 2 or 3 hours, he's like, "Do you go check it?" I'm like,
"Oh,
no." Why?
All we check is the firebox.
Yeah, like, I'll check the temp on the grill or on the cooker. I'll be like, okay, cool. Still at 225 or 250.
There's no reason to open up your cooker unless you're going to.
But there's so many people.
There's no reason to check temp for the first few hours.
Exactly. Yep. Well, yeah, it's not gonna skyrocket, and you're gonna get it done. But I feel like it's this weird, like, mentality that people have, because they're so used to seeing food that they're cooking and seeing what it's doing.
Yeah. Not only that, but we're living in a time that doesn't have patience. Yeah. I think that's why we appreciate, one of the things we appreciate about a barbecue so much is that it does take time.
Yeah.
We live in a time where freaking putting charcoal into a chimney and lighting it up and waiting for 20 to 30 minutes, if you're out here.
It's too long.
Yeah, it's too long. No, I'm like, what? You don't like drinking wine or beer? Have a beer. By the time you're done with that, well, depending on who you are, have 2 beers.
But then, my question is, like, what are you? Well, it's too long. Well, what do you mean it's too long?
I need food now. No, your priorities are messed up in your life. If you can't have a half an hour to sit back, chill, then I mean, you should go grab that half hour from somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, that
But
was always
even
my
then,
argument.
and this is, I think, one of the problem why you hear people don't like to cook on like even a gas grill and stuff is because they don't understand that they need to let even that get to them.
Yeah.
That
So,
needs,
there's so many guys
they
that'll-
complain, why is the food sticking to the grates? Well, because
Yeah.
the grates weren't hot enough before you put the food on.
But
my
we also
burners are always breaking apart. They're sticking to the grates. They weren't hot enough. Well, if
They
I
were
leave, if I
burning.
let them get hot enough, then I burn it.
divide your charcoal up. Have a hot, medium, cool zone.
I think it's just, yeah.
You know, and that's all right because there's plenty. I mean, there's a ton of people. That's the problem is everybody gets awarded for their arrogance nowadays. So you don't want to be taught anything. Therefore, you're not teachable. I mean, you can't go in there thinking you know everything, and that's the problem. You know, somehow or another, this turned into a very popular way to cook,
Right.
which is awesome. I think it should be. The
Oh,
people
absolutely.
that are
I like
talented
brisket.
are ridiculous.
I like brisket at $1.99.
Oh, God, who didn't, man? That was those were the days.
Right?
But yeah, you know what I mean. But at the same time, it's like it's so crazy out here how much you don't see offset smokers. You see Traeger, you see pellet grills everywhere. But when you see somebody buy an offset smoker, it's like, holy, welcome to the club, man. You must want to give them like, $100 to go buy some wood or something. Like, here, man, first load's on me.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. Welcome.
I think the hard thing is, like, Traeger sells
Convenience.
It is. No, and it's true. I get it, but they're missing the whole picture.
They're like, it's convenience with more flavor. Sure, it has more flavor than your oven.
It does. Not by much.
But it does.
Yeah.
And I get
You know
it,
what I
but
mean?
I mean, eventually, seriously, that's the whole idea for barbecues. First of all, you get to unplug. And second of all,
Unless you're a Traeger.
that's
And
what
then
I'm
you don't
saying.
get to unplug at all, dude.
I was talking about barbecue. So the cool thing about that is it forces you to focus, and that's the problem. People don't know how to unplug, and it's not.
Yeah.
You feel like they have to be doing something at all times. Look at their phone. I mean, give somebody 10 seconds to do and see what happens. They're reaching for their phone.
Yeah.
They're probably checking the times on their pellet grill. I mean, or the temperatures or whatever. So it doesn't make any. For me, it's like it's a whole. It's painful for people to do that. So they actually hate it. It's like, no, I'm not gonna. I got a buddy who just got a smoker, real good friend of mine, and it's awesome because his Traeger did break on him. He's gonna turn it into an ice cooler. It's pretty rad. But he got this Oklahoma Joe, and he loves it. He loves like the whole aspect of smoking now, and I'm like, cool. That's awesome. And he's like less intense because he knows how to unplug now. He knows how to just like, all right, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and focus just on this.
Yep.
But so you fed the Marine group, right? Is that Shane? Hey, Shane, reminded me. So I'm wearing, this is the Warrior Built 232 guys that I fed down south in LA. And Shane was a part of that crew.
Cool.
They do a lot of like off-road stuff, and they build Harleys, and it's basically just a combat veterans.
Nice.
It's like a group of guys that it's a big ass garage. That they have a music studio in. They have a physical rehab there. They got therapy, and they have all kinds of crap. And then they just freaking, hey Shane, how you doing? This is him.
That's fucking cool as shit.
They basically just have a bunch of veterans, combat vets have been through some things, and it wasn't until like late in the barbecue when I looked around, I'm like, and we're partying. It's like later in the evening after when the party really started. And I'm like, man, I've never been around so many killers at once. Like I just hit
You're like, most of the people in here could probably kill me.
I'm like, they all have that same look in their eye, like they've seen some shit. You know what I mean?
And they're looking at you. They're like, you better feed us soon.
No, bro, I've never fed a more appreciative group of people. It was so
absolutely.
awesome.
But
It was so cool. There's a
cooking
long ass
for
line,
these
like
guys.
300 people. Oh yeah, right, yeah.
it's
You
the same
get it.
thing. They come up to me, more than one comes up to me, and they're like, we do a lot of events during the year. We all wait for this one because we know you're cooking. And because, again, it's a bonfire party. It's a fucking bonfire party out in the middle of the woods.
Yep.
And I've know a lot between doing this over the years. A lot of them are locals.
Right.
I've known them for years. And it's just always a fun, like, they see me pull up and it's like they're handing me a beer. Let's go. What'd you cook this time?
Well, you know what? Those guys have seen the worst. You know what I mean? They've been treated the worst. You know, they work until they just freaking pass out, you know, and that was some of the best times of their lives. You know what I mean? It's just, so they
I will tell you, if you wanted to feel really safe and really scared all at the same time, go drinking with guys like that.
Oh, trust me, I was there that night after I fed. It's pretty awesome. You're like, oh my God, we might die. But that's part of the fun.
So my buddy Mike, he was telling me they were down in Florida with a bunch of the guys from his unit, and they were playing cards and stuff.
I appreciate that.
And one of the guys had like a broken, like his nose was kind of crooked, like it had been broken. And they're all playing, and like somebody said something about it. He goes, "Yeah, it's fucking broken. It is." And the fucking captain that happened to be there, literally, just all of a sudden out of nowhere, just goes boom, and fucking breaks his nose again. Then the kid literally went, "All right, thank you, Captain." That's especially these guys were all Marines, which I love everybody. I'm in the fire department. That's the closest to military stuff I want to be involved. I ever got involved in. But even a Marine will tell you they're different. They're different.
A little bit.
Like I said, he literally was like, he just reached across, broke the kid's nose, and the kid just straightened it himself and stuffed some fucking shit up there to stop it from bleeding, and they kept playing cards.
Bro, there was this kid, I didn't even know him at the time. He's out of San Jose. He got freaking head-on collision with the car. Some dumbass kid was texting on a back road and ran right into my buddy, and the guy behind him had the GoPro on. So the whole thing was on film. And he was supposed to go to Camp Pendleton to go into the Marines like 2 weeks later. And I saw the accident on Instagram, saw that he was local, and got into contact with him through some mutual friends. I was like, bro, I saw your accident. I can't believe you're alive. Is it cool if I bring you some barbecue? He's like, what? I'm like, bro, that's the only thing I can do when something horrible happens. Like, or something great. Bring barbecue and alcohol. Fixes, you know, for great things and horrible things all at the same time.
Yeah.
That dude, 2 months later, was freaking in the Marines. Shane, good
night, man. Thank you.
Good night, brother. Thanks for everything you do.
Good to see you. Check him out, by the way. He does a lot of, Shane corrected me. It's Lion Film. It's stories about people that have been through some things and how they came back. And
cool.
Have adjusted, and it was some good stuff. Follow him. He actually, he's doing a lot of things. Follow him. But I forgot. I was saying that's the way it goes.
Guys, it is
holy crap,
about that time. So, and Mikey, if you can't tell, has about no voice left.
No, I'm dying here. My voice is killing me.
But did you die?
Right now, Amanda couldn't be any happier.
Oh, bro, I gotta go too. I'm freaking my wife and my son, 4-year-old, have been sick with that flu that's going around for the last 5 days. I've been
Oh,
doing
dude,
good
some of
though,
our-
man. You
some of
drink
our
enough
workers
bourbon
got
and
it.
it takes care of all that.
Some of our workers got it, and she's like, one of our workers got it, and she's like, dude, it's the worst thing that I've ever had in my entire life.
Bro, my wife's a soldier, man, and she's been like down for 3 days. My
Oof.
You know,
son,
that's when it's the worst. When you like, because like, I got sick like a couple weeks ago for like a day and a half, and Amanda's like, I know you're sick when you're like, I really don't feel good. I'm gonna lay down. She's like, then I know there's something
Yeah.
wrong.
You're not faking it.
bro,
Yeah.
my wife's a nurse. She's got antibodies of steel.
Yeah,
And it still took her out.
Bro, it took her out. But when you get
that's what
a
I'm saying.
cold-
When the ones that you look at and you're like, they never go down, and they're like, I'm kind of going down on this. You're like, oh, fuck.
Oh shit.
Yeah, when that happened, it scared me. I started crushing up vitamin C edibles and just snorting lines. So I just did like 5 lines. I'm good.
This one putting a
Vitamin
emergency pack. Like,
Dude, how did you know? It felt weird. It was fuzzy in my head for a minute, but then it was all right. When you first come on, when
bumps
you
of
guys
emergency.
just first when you ever first tried those, tell me you like tried to bite into it because I did. I thought it was like a vitamin C thing, and then it started foaming in my mouth. He didn't.
No.
Oh, bro.
No,
He's like,
we're all
"Take this
normal
shit."
here.
Bro. Come
Yeah.
on, stop lying.
Yeah.
You're as dumb as
Yeah.
me, but in different ways. In fact, you're way more dumb than me in different ways. So don't act like you were a genius. All right, just look at your face. Come on now. It's not screaming genius. All right. I mean, mine says dumb shit too, but don't act like you're above me. All right. Thank you.
Oh, I'm not above you. Unless we're standing next to each
Yeah,
other.
definitely not. Guys, thank you for coming. Thank everybody that's been watching and enjoying the show. Guys,
Although
follow
Steelhouse,
the
I think we're the
barbecue
same
chat
height.
page. That is Steelhouse Barbecue down there. That is Man Meat Barbecue and or Fire and
Fire
Smoke
and Smoke.
Barbecue. Guys, the other thing, go check out our YouTube page. We do put these up every week after the show. And we have other videos, and we're going to be putting more stuff up. And we're going to keep trying to put out more content for you guys to enjoy. If you guys have questions, things you want us to talk about on the show, shoot us a DM, comment on our stuff, ask us questions. We're always looking for topics to talk about, so then we don't end up on randomly weird shit. Sometimes those are the most fun. But
Oh, yeah.
Never
ask
happens.
us questions. We're here to talk. We're here to help. So, guys, have a good week. To both of you guys, thank you for coming. We'll
Cheers,
see
my
you
friend.
guys next week.
Later,
See you
later.
next week.
Later.